In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing Firestarter from 1984, based on the 1980 Stephen King novel of the same name. The movie stars Drew Barrymore as a young girl who develops pyrokinesis powers and can start fires, and basically is hunted down by a secret government agency known as the Shop, led by John Rayburn, played by George C. Scott. Now, the Department of Scientific Intelligence is known as the Shop, and basically they're a secret agency and basically are involved with certain aspects of what to do with certain scientific intelligence. Now, Stephen King uses this in a lot of his books. Not only is it in The Stand, it's in Firestarter, it's in The Mist, and it's in The Tommyknockers. Now, what really makes this movie really fun is that it's different than what you've ever seen from a movie before. It is a science fiction movie, also added on with a horror film. Drew Barrymore gives a stunning performance as the young girl, and it's interesting because as you see Charlie, this character that Drew Barrymore plays, it's really different than what you usually see. Not only that, listen, George C. Scott as John Rayburn is really good. He is that villain that you all want to see in a movie, but it's very underrated. And the underratedness of it is that he just brings a weird dynamic to the character. Now, the character of John Rayburn is a cold-blooded killer because basically he's badly scarred during the Vietnam War and he has all of this PTSD in a way, but it's done in a way where he is a psychopath, and George C. Scott brings that forward. Not only that, the dynamic of what Drew Barrymore brings as a young girl in this film is very different because we just got introduced to her in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, where she played the young girl, which, of course, the movie was directed by Steven Spielberg. Now, this movie is really interesting because we all thought, okay, this is one and done. It's based on a Stephen King novel. It's going to be good. Well, yeah, but now there's a remake coming out with Zac Efron in the movie playing the father figure role. And it's really interesting to see how that transpires and what happens with that. I feel like they're going to stay true to that original aspect of the novel, because in this movie and in the novel, John Rayburn is a Native American. George C. Scott was a Native American, but the character in this remake is Native American. So the interesting thing about this is that it's going to be different to see how correlations are, because of course you want to see the original and you want to see the remake to see how good it is. Well, I loved the original 1984 version. Doesn't get much praise like it should, because it definitely should. Drew Barrymore's great. George C. Scott as the villain is really, really underrated. And this was about the time in the 1980s, maybe late 70s, where George C. Scott started to do sci-fi horror films. You really didn't see him as a sci-fi horror film actor because he did movies like Patton, which he won an award for Best Actor, and he did like the Hustler and other big films that not many people have seen or are known for. So when you see that he went into the aspect of horror, it was different. I wouldn't say this Firestarter movie is more so horror. It's definitely science fiction, and it captured the essence of what the Stephen King novel is, and it's really, really good. If you haven't seen Firestarter 1984, do so before you see the remake, just to compare and contrast, to see what the difference is, what's better, what's fun, if the villain actually stands out on its own like George C. Scott did in the 1984 version or in this version that I'm reviewing. For me, Firestarter from 1984, the original version, gets 4 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Firestarter, starring Drew Barrymore and George C. Scott. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? Do you think that it's based true to the Stephen King novel of the same name from 1980? So let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked, and I'll see you guys in the next review video.